I hope that doesn't make the live part, but Jesus. Millie, where's my shotgun? I think we're live, ladies.
Looks like we're live
Are we really live or just
on custom live streaming service.
Jennifer's live?
I see
You're
it.
live. You're
Yeah,
live.
I'm gonna need a new pacemaker after tonight, y'all. This-
Get the Facebook Live model. It sends like,
Great.
morphine into your body when you're doing lives.
That has a much stronger battery. Yeah. Welcome, Globe. We are live. We are the ladies of Guitar Cloud Symposium. Angela Petrilli, Gretchen Menn, Vicki Genfan. I am Jennifer Batten, often known as Joan Jett when I have my other wig on. Today, just going to tell you briefly about Guitar Cloud Symposium in case you haven't been battered over the head by me with it yet. We are doing a wonderful thing, October 16th to 19th, where anybody in the globe is welcome to join us for our Guitar Cloud Symposium, where we have 18 hours together on Zoom, and it's going to be 24 subject modules ranging from Angela teaching slide, and she's an expert in social media, which we're going to be in her class for sure. Everybody's got 6 modules of their favorite stuff that they love to teach. Vicki Genfan is the open tuning queen with a very original style of harmonics and tapping, and plus she can sing. That's something, you don't want I would clear a room in a heartbeat if I was doing that. And I have. And
I bet you're full of it. I bet you really can sing. bet you can.
You wouldn't believe the disconnect, but we'll talk about that at the party. On the
Therapy.
Monday night, after all the content, you put on your seatbelt Saturday, Sunday, and we got so much stuff to give you. It's phenomenal. On the Monday night, we have sponsor giveaways. We're giving away a Luna guitar. I'll get to the list at the end, but there's so much fun stuff. Plus, you get our music, backing tracks, and it's like a smorgasbord for guitar lovers. On the Monday night, we have a rap party where we're going to have the fabulous Andy Timmons join us. And for the first time, we're going to live stream part of the party, just so you can see how much fun we're having. And as soon as Andy shows his head, we're going to shut it down just for students. So you might want to register now and save $50 before October 9th. And I did not mention Gretchen Menn, the fabulous Gretchen Menn in the band Zepparella. If you ever get a chance to see them, if we can ever play again, definitely go check them out. There's some badass players. And we've all got records out. Gretchen's got some fabulous stuff. You're working on a new one now, aren't you?
I am, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I got PTSD from the last one. I hadn't started. I don't know about that. Anyway, we are here to give you a rig rundown and talk about the gear that we love. And, Gretchen, when I talked to you on Instagram last night, you were talking about what you used for that beautiful harmonic piece that you did. Want to start with that and then go through the rest of your rig?
Sure. Well, first I gotta give a shout out to Debbie Asinas, who's here watching. She's a badass guitar player, very lovely person too, and fellow guitar nerd. So good to see you, Debbie. So for that one, that was right when my engineer, aka my husband Daniele, had gone back to Italy to finish his album, and I was by myself trying to figure out how to engineer audio and video and perform at the same time. So I was like, you know what? I can't deal with miking up my amp, which is what I would normally do. And I used this Neural DSP plugin. It's the Pliny archetype, which as somebody who's really into real amps, I'm really impressed with that plugin. So that would not be normally what I would go to for live stuff. I've got my live rig hooked up right now, or one of them, at least what I have now that we're in lockdown, and it's my 2-rock Bloomfield Drive amp. And then I was just messing around with the TC Electronic Flashback 4, which is a very intricate delay pedal that does everything. And then the Black Country Customs Secret Path reverb, which is all together has a very beautiful. So it's really fun for clean tone. But all of them individually sound pretty fantastic. I was going through all of this in preparation for what we're doing tonight, and I was like, it sounds great with none of them. It sounds great with all of them. So that's my current favorite clean tone.
Yeah, man. When I first heard that, I was hashtag jealous because it was so lush and so perfect. And I'm sure any gearhead. Is there a name to that song, or was it just an improv thing?
No, I can't improv that. Like, but that particular this thing was I think was the. It was sort of a prelude I did to this. It was Ernie Ball had asked me to do a demo for their cut lists, and I just thought, okay, what can I do that maybe a million other people haven't already done? So I thought, okay, if I do something maybe clean with the harp harmonics, that might be a little bit. It might just give some variety. So I'm sure they got plenty of people just burning up the fretboard with, plenty of awesome shred. But I thought, okay, I'll try to give them, a little spectrum. Plus, I think it says a lot about a guitar, at least for me, how it sounds clean with just, and that was just clean with just actually not that much reverb and delay. I think for a lot of people, the harp harmonics, because the very technique, even if let me take off my delay and reverb off with you, you can hear, so that's totally clean, but so that's no effects at all, but because of the combination of the harmonic notes and then the pluck notes that I'm getting with my third finger, it has this almost, you think you're hearing delay beyond what you're actually hearing. So it isn't that much, but so yeah, nice delay makes a big difference.
So people can see that video on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, it's on my Instagram, I posted it everywhere. And you can learn the technique if you do it, because it's one of the sections I'm teaching for the thing we're doing together, is a whole thing on harmonics and different ways to use them.
Beautiful. And you've been with Music Man for quite a while, yeah?
Yeah, they gave me my first guitar, and I swore if I ever made anything of myself, they would have my eternal loyalty, so.
Signed in blood.
Totally. I'm like, do you need a firstborn too? No.
Yeah. Any other favorite things you take? Or how about when you fly? Do you take a different rig when you fly?
You know what? Somebody just asked me that today. I feel like I should teach a course on being a musician flying, because I do have a little bit of extra insight in that, having worked as a pilot. So it depends. First and foremost, I tell every musician, insure your gear. And don't just insure it for what you paid for it. Insure it for what you would pay for it if you needed it tomorrow. So if somebody hooked you up with a great deal on one of your instruments, insure it for the price they would want if you called them in a panic, So insure your gear so that when the inevitable eventually happens, you'll be okay. I say be unusually nice to flight attendants and gate agents. They have more power than I think they sometimes should as it relates to my guitar. Now is a great time to travel with your instrument because the airlines aren't booking to full capacity. And they actually did introduce an FAA regulation that says that if there is space in the overhead, you must, the instruments need to be allowed on board. So they can't bar you. But check in early, get priority boarding if you can. And then I like to have a case that is small and slim and psychologically doesn't feel like a lot for flight attendants. So it's contoured. It's a BAM case that I have for my Les Paul. The case is about a quarter the price of the guitar. It's not a cheap case, but when you travel a lot, you don't want to be worried about, your main instrument. So
Stu Ham has a trick that's hilarious, and it's all about your vibe. He goes to the gate, and he's got a credit card that's from one of the airlines, and he acts like it is a VIP card, like they should know. But he has his bass on his back, and he flashes that, and he always gets on board with his guitar that way. It's crazy.
That's I've never even thought about that.
Well, you wouldn't. That's a Stu thing.
Well,
I
when
mean,
I do say this, oh, sorry, go ahead. There's a delay.
no.
Another psychological trick that I will have is I will have my sacrificial roller board, my suitcase that as soon as they give me, and it'll be my 2 items, so it won't be more than 2. But as soon as I go up there, if anybody eyes my guitar, I'm like, take my suitcase instead. And then you've given them something, you know? And that way they're like, okay, well, actually that suitcase, my suitcase is as big as, you can really kind of be allowed on board. And if you do that, a lot of times they're reasonable. I mean, and what I always do at the end of flights where I haven't gotten hassled, I make it a big point to thank everybody for being so cool about letting me have my guitar on board, and it's why I fly that airline and blah 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 blah. And I figure that's paying it forward to all other musicians and to myself hopefully in the future.
I love everything you said because I have had to do every single one of them.
Really?
Every single one. Thin case. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still stressful because you don't know if like one of those flight attendants is having a real bad day. And just like, I hate guitar players. This is going underneath and I'm making sure someone steps on it. You know what I mean? So kindness always wins, folks. It's easier to be kind than be a jerk. Totally agree with you.
That happened to me on the Jeff Beck tour. I had taken my guitar on board for years and years and years. And that one guy that had a bad day said, you can't do it. There's not enough room. Of course, I get in there, and there was plenty of room. We were in business class, and he insisted on putting it below and snapped the headstock right off. Yeah. I just said that to look at everybody's face when I said that.
Oh, the blood pressure.
Yeah, right.
That was bad.
Cool.
Hey, question came in. I'm trying to monitor our questions.
Yeah, go.
Joby Rogers says, was there ever a riff that you were too intimidated to even try?
Sure. There are some blistering things there that make me run away screaming from my mommy. Anybody else?
I'm going to say there's plenty of stuff I can't play, but I'm too, I'm just a masochist and just like, I'm going to try it anyway. So I'll try anything.
I'm one of those two. I'm like, this sounds like a challenge. I'm in.
Totally. I remember my first year of playing, I told my guitar teacher I wanted to learn Too Many Notes by Steve Morris. And he's like, okay. I still can't play it at 208 BPM, but.
Yeah. Hey, I know Gretchen and Angela have to leave right at 5:30, so why don't you take over, Angela, and us stragglers can go past the hour a little bit.
Gosh, talk about gear, what I've got today, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and your guitars and what you like to use when you play live.
Okay. Well, I've got my acoustic here today. This is my workhorse acoustic. I love this thing. I'm a proud Martin artist. I love all those folks up in Nazareth. This is my 00017E. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's seen some love. Can you see? Like I'm starting to get some wear where I've strummed it and stuff. I absolutely love this thing. The neck is super slim and it's a very light guitar, so it's super easy to play. I love this thing. I'm a big Strat player, so my go-to electric is a Strat. Absolutely love a good Fender Strat. Yeah, and I absolutely too. I think and to Gretchen's point, if she mentioned it, a good test of the guitar is plugging it in straight to an amp. If it sounds great plugged into an amp, it's gonna sound awesome, you know. So, and it's gonna sound great with your pedals too. So making sure that before you buy something, get your hands on it and play it and make sure you like it and make sure it sounds good through the amp. As far as pedals and what I like, I'm a big fan of Analog Man pedals. I've got 3 on my board right now. Got a compressor of his. I've got his Prince of Tone overdrive, and then I've got his TR2 tremolo. Super awesome tremolo pedal. But big fan of fuzz pedals and box wahs and all that kind of stuff. I have a Strymon delay, the El Capistan, which I absolutely.
Oh, I haven't tried that one. I've got the timeline.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Oh, I love that tape delay sound. It's so good. I absolutely love that pedal. It's awesome. But yeah, that's usually my rig. That's what I go through. Martin Acoustics, Fender Electrics. Yeah, love it.
I love the little sign that just snuck in.
That's really cute, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's called an afterthought. Guitar Cloud Symposium, y'all. We have some amazing sponsors, which I'll get to at the end. I'm really happy. The next 3, we're doing October, December, and probably beginning of February. And it's going to keep getting better every time. And the sponsors have been so great. Positive Grid is presenting this, and they're going to be with us for 3 more, including a special announcement that will happen on the 19th. But I can't tell you. I'm sworn to secrecy, or I'll get shot. All right. Any questions for Angela over here? The questions are not coming up for me.
Angela,
Well,
do you mind turning your mic up some? Can you do that? Awesome.
Angela, actually, I had a question. So you asked a really good question last night on the live with Jennifer, which is if you have
Yes.
one pedal, what's your pedal? Jennifer, you said whammy, right?
Definitely the
I
whammy.
said delay, but you said fuzz. Which
I said
it
fuzz.
wouldn't have even. What is yours an analog man fuzz, or what do you like? for pedal?
I have a Pro Analog Devices. I love it. It's a Mark II fuzz. It's got it nods to the Eric Clapton tones and the Jimmy Page tones, which again are huge guitar heroes for me. And it really grabs that old fuzz tone that I absolutely love. You know, that Hendrix style. I love it. So that's what I like to use. But yeah, it's a little bit of grit. It's different from overdrive. A lot of times I'll just use an overdrive just as a little bit of a lift with not a ton of grit, like just a little bit. But if I want super gritty in your face, it's a fuzz pedal, hands down for me. But yeah, I love it. If I were to pick one, that would be the pedal. But I'm a huge wah fan. So like wah is a very, very close second. But if I had to choose, it would be fuzz. Yeah.
Angela, from one acoustic player to another, I know everybody plays acoustic, but I know you do probably a lot of it.
Yes.
Do you ever use pedals with your
For
acoustic?
my acoustics, I use not necessarily a pedal. I use an imager, the Fishman RS Spectrum DI. I love that thing. Oh my God. I love that thing. I can't tell you how many times I bring that with me. It comes with me for every single acoustic gig I do. Every single one. I plug it in, there's an XLR, and then out into the system, the sound people take care of it. And I can't tell you how many times I bring that thing to a gig and the sound people are like, thank you so much. We love that little silver box. And it makes the guitar sound as it should. It doesn't change anything because I love the sound of a Martin acoustic. So I don't want to change it. I bought that guitar because it sounds the way it does. So I want an imager to elevate how the guitar already sounds and just makes the guitar sound as it should. So as far as pedals when it comes to acoustic, that's what I use. I don't use overdrives when I play acoustic. I find it just gets too muddy and it's not as what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not as complex. I think it gets just too sogged down in what the overdrive does. Because again, the pickups are completely different with an acoustic versus an electric. So I let the acoustic speak as it should because it's an acoustic and that's how an acoustic sounds. But I'm a purist. I don't know. But that's what I like. That's my long-winded answer. It's our Spectrum DI by Fishman. That's what I use. Yeah.
There's a question.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
A question came in for the 4 of us. If we were able to do the symposium live in the same room and each had a song to pick to wrap the event collectively, what would each of us select? I would say Goodbye Pork Pie Hat, Jeff Beck.
I say yes to that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Do they mean a song that we would play individually or a song?
I'm a little
you
confused.
could
You could
Is
do
it like
that.
our walkout song? Like our fight song? Like what?
I took it as a song that really means something to you, and maybe that it's your life alma mater song.
Rain song, Led Zeppelin. That's mine.
Right.
like your anthem.
Rain
Yeah,
song,
yeah.
Led Zeppelin. Hell yes.
I'm gonna say I want to jam over one of Vicki's loops again. That collaboration we all did. I could have done that all day long. So that's
Let's
my
do
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Let's just
That was
put
so
out
fun.
a 25-minute long loop song. I'll loop a whole bunch of stuff and y'all will
Let's
play.
do it.
That's so cool to me. I love it.
Oh,
If
that would be a
people have
blast.
not seen that, we did a collaboration video. Vicki started with this really badass groove, and then we each did a little solo over it. You can see it on various places, but for sure on my YouTube channel in the Guitar Cloud Symposium playlist. And
Got a few more questions here.
Yeah.
Trying to look at all of these. Eric Johnson, I'm assuming not the Eric Johnson that made me want to play guitar. But if it is, thank you. Asked, are there any axe effects users between the four of us? So I think they mean the fractal axe effects, which I've tried, but I'm more of a like one pedal kind of thing. Like they're great, they're really high quality, but I don't use them.
I didn't like it. I tried it several times, several years apart, and just not a fan. That's where I'm at.
Let's see. We also Brianna Alexis is here. What's up, Brianna? And also Ilse am I saying that right? Who was at the last Guitar Cloud Symposium?
All right.
What's up? Michael Powell. How are you, my friend? And Joby Rogers asks, what's more important to you, obtaining perfection of a riff or completion?
That question hurts my hair.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer it this way. And I tell my students this, and this is something I'm going to say a million times during the symposium too. You can't play anything fast that you can't play slow.
Amen.
It's just how it works. So as far as perfection, not being sloppy, that's what I think. Like you may be playing the song at the BPM it's written in, but your hands are all over the place. And you're you're not hitting the right notes and things are not sounding clear. I wouldn't call that perfect. Practice slow, folks. Practice slow, build the speed, use a metronome.
Yeah, in part, well, I'll get into my little brain science thing. When you're learning something and you might play it correctly 75% of the time and make mistakes 25% of the time because you're going a little too fast to do it perfectly. You're programming it. It's like your brain is a computer and you're programming that in your brain. So now You've created two folders. The one that is the one you want and the one with the mistakes, and you get on stage and your brain doesn't care which folder it draws from. So it's
so true.
It's
slow.
random, you know?
It's so hard to get guitar players to play anything slow. That's the number one thing I do with students is slow down, slow down, slow down. Get out my virtual whip.
Yep. Just the inverse of what you said, Angela. Anything you can play slowly, you can play fast. But you can't just skip the slowly part.
You got to do the slowly part, slow and steady. You got to play things slow first, folks.
I don't know if it applies so much to electric technique, but there's also an element of playing softly that I feel is really important in that initial practicing of something new or something difficult. Because the minute I tried to put volume in, and I'm mostly playing with my fingers, I'm not really using a pick very much, but there's a level of tension that just immediately grips me. So I have to practice not only slowly, but really softly. And I tell my students that same thing. Do y'all, does it apply to you?
I do that
electric
too.
Folks?
With strumming, I think whether it's acoustic or electric, I tell my students, pretend like you're cutting into a cloud. You don't want to be harsh and then the cloud disperses, right? You want to just be nice and easy. And once you understand that feeling, then you can add a bit more speed, maybe a bit more strength, but you at least know how the movement goes. It's nice and clear. It's nice and smooth. It's cohesive. It's, it's a collective. It's important to have a soft touch when you're learning. I could not agree more with you on that, Vicki. Absolutely.
I agree as well. Something though that my classical teacher, because I feel like the reverse is often true for classical, is that he always had me start with things kind of a little bit on the obnoxiously loud side to make sure to uncover any of the stuff. Because I guess for me, I think the important thing is to run the spectrum. Well, on one hand, I think there's a lot of intelligence in the don't put unnecessarily mileage on your hands and your tendons and all of that. That makes a lot of sense. Also, sometimes I think if you get too used to playing too lightly without the ability to go really loud, you won't be uncovering certain things that might jump out at you at the louder volume. So I'm a big fan of practicing it definitely the slow tempos, like we were saying, but also at various dynamic ranges, and also seeing how much dynamics can go in there. I think a lot of times electric guitarists, myself included, we forget that there are volumes other than 10, and and to see, to remember that there can be so much expressive possibility within the range of simply sometimes backing off, and sometimes backing off a lot, so that when the loud comes, it's, it says something other than just, man, I wish the guitar player would turn down.
Yeah, just ask Nirvana. Man, they brought dynamics back. The verse is down to a whisper so that when the chorus hits, then it hits you with a punch. Otherwise, if everything's on 11, it has no emotional range. Cool.
We have such great questions coming in, you guys. I'm wanting to keep saying them because they're great. But Joe B. Rogers asked again, is there a defining moment when you came to a realization that you're in the wrong band? Yeah, these are great. These are questions like I actually haven't answered before. I feel like often, you get different versions of the same question, but what about you guys?
Yeah, if the vibe is not good, you're in the wrong band.
Yep, 100%.
Because the audience can smell that like BO. You can try to hide it and put that smile on, but if there's tension, it's not a good thing. And if you can't resolve it, you need to move on.
I was in a situation many, many years ago, because I haven't played in a lot of bands, but I had my own band out of college, and my bandmates were all my friends. And at one point, a friend who wasn't in the band wrote me a letter, and she said, "You need to stop playing with your friends because you need to up the level of musicianship." So that was a different kind of situation. The vibe was really cool, but in a way, they were holding me back, and I didn't want to let them go because they were my buddies. That was a
Pat
hard
Metheny
situation.
said, we used to get a seminar once a month when I was at GIT back in the day. He said that, well, what he did, he played with Gary Burton. He said that the ideal thing is if you can play with players that are better than you, you have no choice but to grow. If they can stand where your level is, or feel your enthusiasm like you're going to work your ass off to get to their level.
Absolutely. It's a good thing. It's a good place to be. That's for sure. Good place to be.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, after playing with the likes of Ricky Lawson and Greg Fillinganes on the Bad Tour with Michael Jackson, I played with some people afterwards that I had played with before, and it was shocking because I had grown so much from playing with those guys that had the kill groove, that all of a sudden what you were putting up with before and didn't realize wasn't the best, your ears just grew, and I left that band.
I think that would be a hard gig to rebound from, but then fortunately you had Jeff Beck's band, so that was a nice easy landing for you.
Easy landing.
Right?
It was a few wonderful years of growth. Really, I mean, being stuck in that, I was, of course, what guitar player wouldn't be crapping themselves trying to prepare yourself mentally to play with your hero, right? Luckily, he was such a cool guy that he made it easy. And I will say I worked my ass off. When I was in London, every waking moment was either writing for him or working on something new for him. But yeah, at some point, you just got to throw up your hands and go, I ain't ever going to be there. I'll do my best. But hopefully some of that stuff rubbed off. But anyway, you want to do a couple more questions, or you guys got to run?
Yeah, let me see. Well, let me see if there's anything that can happen really fast, because Angela and I both have to be somewhere. I don't see any new questions that came in that we didn't get to. So I don't know. I guess Angela, you want to tell everybody what you're teaching really fast?
Yeah, so I'd love to. I am teaching Intro to Slide Guitar, which is going to be a blast. So get ready, folks. Have your slides ready. It'll help, or a shot glass, or a beer bottle, whatever floats your boat. It's fine. We're open to everyone here. So as long as you got something that slide, get a good slide. We'll have some fun. I am teaching Intro to Hybrid Picking. So using your fingers as well as holding your pick to again build momentum, build some really cool peaks and valleys in your playing and your strumming, that kind of thing. I am teaching soloing as a conversation and how to speak through notes on top of a song, how to make a really cool melodic solo, that type of thing. Let's see, intro to playing in the pocket, because it's an important thing, whether you're playing by yourself or in a band. Being a pocket player is a good place to be. It gets you a lot of gigs. Let's see what else. Also, how to build your brand on social media, which is important nowadays, particularly for all of us, particularly in these COVID times, just getting better at promoting shows and promoting ourselves as musicians and what we can do for gigs and so on and so forth. And then also how to be a well-rounded musician, how to have a cool online presence, but also play gigs and be a decent human being. So that's what I'll be teaching folks. It's going to be fun. Gretchen, what about you?
I actually took a screenshot of mine because last night on Instagram, Jennifer was like, "What are you teaching?" I'm like, "I think that was 5." So what I'm teaching, I'm gonna go into building more colorful chords again. I think people get really intimidated when you add qualities other than major or minor and numbers beyond 7. And so talking about looking at chords from a basis of triads, seeing how voices move, using voice leading, and seeing how you can just move things around and get all sorts of different colors and sounds. So we'll be talking about that. And then I'm going to talk about the process, or at least my process, for writing and recording and producing an album. Everything from the gear that I use to organizational strategies, to who to call in at what point to maximize the process and maximize the result while still operating on the budget of a person who doesn't have a trust fund. I'm going to also go through, and this was something that Jennifer's brain science course really got me thinking about, real-time 20 minutes of, I'm going to call it perfect practice. There's probably no real such thing as that, but 20 minutes in real time practicing along with everybody to show what 20 minutes looks like and just how slow you really do go if you want to make good progress. And we're going to have everybody vote on what line I'm going to be playing, although people can play whatever they want to bring to the table. Though it's more fun if we all get to work on, whatever line at the same time. I'm going to be going over harmonics again, so natural, artificial, and harp harmonics, like I showed earlier. I'm going to talk about visualizing the fretboard. There are a lot of ways to do it, but I found that this EG system that my husband Daniele, who's an amazing guitar player and composer, that he kind of thinks of it in, and it just really kind of blew the doors open for different ways of seeing things for me that I find to be the most efficient way so far that I've looked at the fretboard. And then I'm going to talk about what guitar players can learn from composers. So anybody who knows me well knows that I've got an entire bookshelf of musical scores, and probably almost every day I'm studying a score of whether it's Ravel or Stravinsky or Debussy or Mozart or Beethoven or Bach. I'm studying that music and looking at those scores, and going to show different ways that you can, different things you can learn from composed music. And it doesn't have to be that you need to learn how to read like transposing instruments or the alto clef or anything like that, but how a guitar player could look at a string quartet and become a better writer because of that, and get ideas because of that. So those are my courses.
Wow.
Love it.
Jennifer, you're muted.
Shoot me. I'm going to bust in and say that I forgot to say this last time, but I'm multicasting to 2 different Facebook pages and YouTube, and I will go back and answer the questions. What we are looking at is the JB Guitar 1 page, and I'll answer questions on behalf of Gretchen and Angela and just make shit up, okay? Yes, clearly I think this is the pedal for you.
Right? You're like, I hate Led Zeppelin from Gretchen. Yeah. Okay, I should run. I've got
I know. Me
umbrella
too,
hanging.
ladies. This was so fun. I can't wait for the 16th, guys. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
really
thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, you guys. And
Have a
thanks, you
good
guys
one.
for great questions. See you guys.
Yes. Take
Don't
care,
go away,
everybody.
folks. Vicki and I are still going to tell you all about our rigs. I think, Vicki, you should go first.
Rigatoni. Well, this is my main baby. This is a custom-made Burchette, gray Burchette guitar. It's a jumbo. It's a monster, and it's got a Swiss spruce. That's not the right name. Anyway, I've never even had a jumbo in my life until I played one of Gray's, and I felt especially the lower notes going inside my body. I just felt, like the vibrations. I was like, I have to have that. I have to have it. So I do. I have a huge guitar.
That's the
I
case
also
of
have-
the instrument picking you instead of you picking the instrument.
It did. I mean, it's too big. You can even see. It's like, I wish it were smaller, but I don't wish it were smaller.
Yeah.
I do have some smaller guitars, and I have a 1948 Gibson LG2, which is magnificent. It's a really great blues and folky kind of guitar. And I've got a L140 Gibson, which is also a beautiful instrument. And then I have the VG Luna guitar signature, which is based on this one. So Luna Guitars and Gray got together. Gray built the guitar, but Luna commissioned him to do it. So there's Luna headstock and Luna moon phases. And yeah, so this instrument, the way that when I'm live in touring, not sitting here in the at the home studio, one of the things really important to me is to get a really great sound. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's to get the body to sound and to sound really good. And to do that, I've been through so many different kinds of configurations, microphones, transducers, and I came upon this amazing product called MiniFlex 2 mic. And it's literally, there are 2 microphones mounted on a rubber, on an end pin that goes in here. And you don't have to drill any special holes, but you can move those 2 mics so that one of them's close to the sound hole, and one of them I have right around here because I do a lot of my percussioning here. And it doesn't feed back because of the 2 microphones. There's some kind of phase cancellation. So I'm able to play a live gig at a pretty decent volume. Now, I probably only use that microphone setup for about 40% of my sound. I have a K&K under the saddle pickup here, piezo. So we use probably around 60% piezo and 40% microphone, but still, I'm able to really get a lot of the body sound of the guitar. So for me, in fact, through those microphones, it'll even pick up this strange finger noise. God dang. I'm talking about ready to scream. It'll pick up this. A lot of times I'll just, crazy, but I love that little sound. So these microphones will pick it up. That's basically what I use. And in my little baby Luna, I have also the MiniFlex 2 mic set up. I'm about to try one of the new Fishman pickups, which is built kind of for this kind of percussive playing. I'm really excited to see how that hears. We'll have to do another gear check back so I can show that off and see how that sounds.
And you've got a really cool demo on the Tonewood amp.
Yeah, the Tonewood is really cool. It's like having gear when you're in your bedroom. It's being able to do a live gig from your bathroom. I mean, it sits on the back of your instrument, magnetically connected through a mount that goes inside, and there's 8 different effects. So that's just crazy. That's like, oh my God, I can like do overdrive, just sitting here playing, with myself. It's a really crazy thing, and the quality of the effects are way high. The reverb, delay, they're just really, really high quality effects. So yeah, that's like my pedal.
Tonewood is giving away an amp to one lucky student.
Yep.
It's a really revolutionary design that they've done.
It
I've never
is.
seen anything
It
like
is. So it sits on the back of your guitar, but the guitar itself becomes the speaker. because there's no speaker.
What
You
is
have to
not
have
to
it.
love?
Yeah. Speaking of ski, I just want to also give a shout out to these Shep microphones. When I'm here doing video stuff and this kind of stuff, and I don't have to plug in, I use we have a pair of Shep microphones for my guitar, which are absolutely a dream for acoustic guitars. So those are really exciting. And I've got a Neumann TL M140 for my vocal mic there. On the front porch, and when we're teaching, I've been using the Audix. What was the model number? Now you're making me forget, Jennifer. HT something.
HT2.
HT2.
There's a lot of spit in that name. Just remember that. HT2.
HT2. Yeah, so we've been using that headset mic, which is really cool. And
That's what I'm using right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to get to try out their lavaliers too. So much cool stuff. That's me. Anybody have any questions, or we even monitoring questions? I guess we're not. We've lost our monitor.
Cindy May says it sounds awesome.
Oh, cool.
Every time I look at something, it just jumps. Need some of those mics from my Martin. Go, Mike.
Miniflex
Audix,
2 mic.
Oregon.
I can hook you up with the owner if you're interested. Just shoot me a message or something. They're really cool.
Yeah, somebody mentioned Audix, and I have fallen in love with their i5 mic, which I discovered last summer, and I got one immediately and bought a second one just because I lose things. I have usually 2 or 3 of everything, and I pack it with me now because it makes such a difference in the sound that, every time I fly, I'm thinking, what can I leave home? What can I leave home? And the mic is not one of them. One of the
so
things.
So you mic your amp with it?
Yeah, I stopped bringing socks so I could bring an extra mic. That's all about the ounces when you fly. Well, I'll jump into my.
Yeah, do it.
Maybe we can answer some more questions at the end. I honestly, for 2 years, I've been between 2 rigs, between a rig and a hard place. I was with Digitech for many, many years, and the thing that I'm plugged into right now is the RP100 or 1000, and it's an all-in-one unit. And I stopped using pedals long ago, over 20 years ago, when I started with Digitech, and they just got better and better and better every year. Just more offerings. 3, 4, God, it might even be 5 years ago. I lose track. I hooked up with Thomas Blug, and I'm using his Amp 1, which is an analog amp. It's 100 watts. It's 4 channels, MIDI capable. So I'm running it with the 4-cable method. So I'm not using any amp models now in the Digitech. I'm just using that for effects. And there's certain sounds, well, I'd say between 2 systems, because the other system that I'm using locally with a cover band is the exact same thing, except I'm using the HX Stomp for multi-effects and a soft step MIDI controller to change patches, because it's 1 pound, and they say you can spill beer on it and it's not going to get in.
Made for you.
Yeah. Actually made for the audience, because I once had a guy in the front row spill beer on my pedals, and I just had a heart attack. So I wish it was all covered in rubber like that, every piece of gear, but alas, I just have to stay away from beer drinkers. Actually, I've gotten on bigger stages, so usually the beer drinkers can't get to me. But there's a couple sounds that I cannot recreate in the HX, and it kills me, because the HX is so superior as far as the routing and the multitude of things that you can do. Well, for one thing, it has MIDI. So I can change my amp channel, and I can change the patch with 1 click. Now, with the Digitech, for some reason, they removed MIDI from it. It's like every year they'd add something new and something cooler and something more high-tech, and then remove something. And it's that removal. Oh, no. So now I have to tap dance twice. If I want to change the amp channel, I have to step on the amp channel and then step on the patch that I want. And sometimes it's just too much tap dancing, and so I'll roll off my volume to clean it up instead of actually having a clean channel. And when I used only digital gear, I couldn't roll off and get a good sound. So, now that I'm back to analog, I won't go back. So this sound I think I'm blowing it out here. I only have one ear in. Very ethereal sound. Yeah. Is that loud enough?
It's good, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I could do an entire yoga record with that.
Totally.
And it also has an expression pedal built in, and I use the snot out of the whammy pedal. And almost always I have it set to go down a whole step with my foot. So and unlike Angela, who plays slide guitar, I absolutely suck at slide guitar, and I actually don't have patience is what the problem was. Because you really have to deal with the noise, with the open string noise. And although I have a string damper, I do not do slide guitar. So an example of taking a chord and using the whammy pedal to take it down a whole step. So I can kind of emulate slide guitar that way. And earlier when I was on your porch, I was playing Believer. And, you know, and then digging down with the whammy pedal. So I can hold on to that octave and do that dive like the vocals do with the whammy pedal. So I love that. And this is another sound that I can't get anywhere. There is no company on earth, and believe me, I've looked at all of them, that has this talker kind of. And when you're doing instrumental music, because I don't sing for crap, I like to use that because it brings in a vocal element.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of people say after the fact, man, it sounded like somebody was singing. My foot was singing. And not just because I need to change my socks. So it's pretty basic there, and I always add a volume pedal too. If I'm, especially when I'm playing with a live band, if I have a drummer that gets a little excitable, and you know, if you have your amp set to a certain level and then the drums get really loud, the guitar gets buried. So I always will run it through a volume pedal so I can match where I'm at. And I even run into that with tracks sometimes. It really depends. If I'm on a stage that has the subs under the stage and it's really boomy, the guitar can get buried, and so I want the ability on the fly to be able to adjust the level. So that's, by the way, the guitar is a Washburn Parallax from the Parallax series. It's a little customized with a short scale neck, and this colorful neck you see is stickers. It's all stickers between each fret. It's from a company called neckillusions.com. And there's a whole lot of different patterns you can get there. You can do custom patterns. You can, in fact, I had one with the last record I did. I had the name of the record across the fretboard for a photo shoot. And then I took it off and got another pattern. And I'm using the Fishman Fluence pickups, which I fell in love with because of Greg Koch. Amazing player, incredible tone. I mean, you can have all the text in the world about a product, but when you actually hear it, or hear somebody that's using it, that's what sells it. So I'm using the Modern in the bridge, and the other two spots are from the Stratocaster series, and always a Floyd Rose. That's one of the 24 modules I'm doing at Guitar Cloud Symposium. So that's some motor mouthing.
That's awesome. I just wanted to quickly add that I didn't really say, but I am going to be teaching an intro to open tuning in the symposium. And I'm going to be teaching percussion techniques mostly for acoustic, but you can actually do a lot of that stuff on electric as well. I'm going to be teaching a little module on your visions and goals, how you look at your short-term, long-term goals, and how that plays out in your everyday practice routine. I'm going to be doing something called whole body rhythm, where we're going to be just really going into a whole body method of just kind of getting our rhythm our rhythm chops.
Buttless rhythm chaps.
That's a good, yeah, right. Words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are going to be my modules.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful stuff. Everybody has such a variety of stuff to offer, that all the teachers will watch the other teachers' modules because
Totally.
it's like a smorgasbord. You know, I want some of that. I want some chocolate pudding too. um, all right, I'm gonna start to wrap it up. I will
Yeah.
say that this is presented by Positive Grid, and I got a Spark amp in the mail today. I haven't even had time to unbox it, but I'll be doing demos on it. I have a very special series I'm planning to use it with. That is the next level technology for practicing and jamming that I'll keep
Yeah.
it short right now, but I will be talking much more about it in the future. Sweetwater has joined us, which we all know that's the best online gear seller in the world, and not just because of the Tootsie Rolls that they give you. It's just the customer service is unsurpassed. So we love them, and if anybody's been there, you have to go on their slide. It's a 2-story slide that goes from
Man.
amazing, and that had to be custom made. Fishman, they've been very good to me, and in fact, I am going to add a new module this time that's different from August. I'm going to do Intro to Synth Guitar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's amazing what their triple play synth can do, and they have a newer one called Connect that's wired, but all you need is an iPad to access a ridiculous number of inspiring sounds. Audix has been a participant, and they're giving away an A140 set of headphones that they've been working on for 2 years. I want those, but I'm not going to get those. Some lucky student is.
Yeah.
Transcribe is one of the modules I'm doing. That's an app that helps you learn music and be really accurate. They're giving away some codes. Blue Guitar, my amp company, is giving away their Blue Box, which is a 16 IR speaker emulator with a virtual mic placement knob. Guitar Playback, my buddy David Wallerman is giving away a bunch of jam tracks that are 1-chord tracks, so you can work on different modes. They're all really high res, and every student gets that. Cordial cables, German technology. There's something when you say German that just bumps it up a step.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does.
I mean, Mercedes, you know, they put a lot of effort in trying to be the best. The copper core cables are great. I have played cables before that are really expensive that fall apart. It's crazy. I just go, you got to be kidding me. The ends unscrew on their own, and next thing you know, I toss it in the corner.
Yeah.
But these things are built to last, and every single student is going to get a Cordial cable, and they're about $100 value. So, you know, the price you pay for the seminar, everybody's going to make out like a bandit. Locket straps, we have 4 of those. I've been using those for years. That keep your guitar secure without needing extra hardware. Stage Ninja, I've been with for many years, and they've really got into the smartphone, iPad kind of clamps. That especially with lockdown, everybody's filming themselves, and it's just really convenient to be able to clip it to the laptop or clip it to. I had one clip to a guitar headstock just to get a behind the guitar thing. In fact, it's great for teachers too, because you know, with these Zoom calls, you can see the fingers from the front, but you can't get a good shot like down this way or from the back. And so I did a whole thing on thumb placement using the Ninja, Stage Ninja cable. TrueFire.com, everybody gets a 90-day all-access pass to all of their courses, and Vicki and I have several courses with them. And Tonewood Amps is giving away an amp. So these students are going to be salivating. And on the
Luna
Monday,
guitars.
Luna.
You said it before, but Luna's giving away a guitar too.
Yeah, it's like a $729 value. It's amazing. Beautiful guitars. Um, yeah, and the last winner of a Luna guitar lost her mind. It's
That's
just
great. That's great.
that film.
So,
That film. In fact, they should use it on their site because she was so excited. Uh, yeah, so you can't not join us October
and we
6th.
got Taytrix.
Taytrix, of course. Taytrix is well. I always lay that over to you because you get the deal.
Yeah, because I'm married to Taytrix. Taytrix makes these stackable, portable gobos, which you can make walls out of. That can be soundproof, sound barriers. I'm not going to say it well tonight, I can tell. But you can make enclosures. You can make amp enclosures. You can put up a wall with a plexiglass panel so that you can play with somebody right next to you. See each other, but your microphones will each be completely, separated. Really cool products. You can make a whole booth. We just sent out an amazing drum booth. So Taytrix just got these amazing acoustic panels.
I just thought, it's Taytrix would be really good for new mothers also. You put the baby in that thing and get some sleep.
Right, you got your amp enclosure, then you got your baby enclosure. The only difference is the baby enclosure has a little, rocky little swingy thing you put the baby in. It's a good idea.
Oh, we're going south in a hurry. On that note, it's been about an hour, and
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging with us.
and I will go back and look at the questions, and like I said, make up answers. So thanks wherever you're coming in from. Thank you so much for hanging out. GuitarCloudSymposium.com. Register now because you can save $50 before October 9th. And that's all, folks. I have a friend that I should have this. He does this thing at restaurants. It's just the bomb, where he does the old cartoon thing where you roll up a napkin and you say, "That's all, folks," and then you let the napkin go and it covers your face. I guess one of those jokes that you had to be there. Location joke. All right, it's definitely time to say goodbye.
Definitely time. Have a good night, everybody. A good afternoon, wherever you are. We love you, and we hope to see you at the symposium.
Arigato gozaimasu.